What it is, YouTube. You know what it is. It's your boy, the Moose. Okay, so check it out. Song, ready? The stars are light, are big and bright, deep in the heart of Texas. Okay, that worked.
Okay, let's see it.
Good morning. Okay, so what I wanted to discuss today is gigs. I have this, not this weekend, but next weekend, graduation party, lockdown style. There's not going to be any guests. Probably my grandsons will come over, but I don't know yet. That depends. But we're going to have music and all that kind of stuff. So I don't know what the weather's going to be like, but yesterday was 90 degrees. So if it continues to be, it says it's going to be 90 degrees that day, but I don't know how the weather's going to act. So if the weather acts right, and we'll be outside, and we will, I'll set up at 6. So start this about maybe about 7 o'clock. I'll set up for late to go outside and party for a while. It just depends on what they want to do. I do want to get it before my daughter goes to work, but anyway, so that's what we're gonna do. Hopefully that it'll be on Saturday or Sunday. We'll find that out. But what I wanted to talk about is the wedding situation that I had happen to me, and I want to show other DJs maybe there's a way that they can get around it happening to them in the future, because all kinds of things happen. But what I wanted to do is I wanted to show you what I do now after the situation's happened, because I don't want it to happen again. And I made this myself. You can make it yourself, or I will leave a link below. I'll leave a link below where you can get this if you would like. I will share it by the end of the video. I'll have it shared and I will post it with the share, and you can go in and edit it the way you want to. I will do that, or you can go in and copy and paste it and put it in Word and whatever program you use, and you can make it the way you want it. But this is just a suggestion for other DJs, because you might be just starting out and you don't know what to do. So this will guide you. This is a guide through the wedding process on how to book once you book the wedding, because you got to book in the wedding. There's some things that you need to ask, and this is kind of like a broad spectrum. You don't go in and just I have two pieces of information. It's this information right here, and I'll leave a link below for the other one. The other one is something that you don't show the client. That's what you tally. When you do the initial interview, you can do it over the phone, you can do it over Skype. I choose to go to Starbucks. I like to meet them in a public setting, because it kind of gives them that freedom. If they want to leave, they can just leave. But if you go to their house, or they come to your house, then it's just a little tricky. So I like to meet them in a couple places. Starbucks works really good. So that makes them feel comfortable knowing that they go to Starbucks. I've never met a client at McDonald's. It's always Starbucks or a coffee shop. I always go to a coffee shop. A lot of people love coffee. Like me, I love coffee. I can't get away from it. Okay, so let's get into this. Let me show you what we're working with. All right, let me go ahead and move it up. And then we will minimize me. Hey, there y'all are. And then we'll bring an order up here. And then I'll make myself smaller. But I just, I want everybody to know that this is something that you can do as a person. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna see here is the wedding contract. It's the wedding songs. I'm gonna go and highlight as I go. I'm still trying to figure out how to put the mouse on. It's just a little tricky to me. But as you can see, I do this. I labeled it wedding songs, but it's basically what you're doing is you're offering them a walk through the wedding, how they want to do the wedding type deal, compared to when you take this information and you go back home and you actually fill out the paper that I'll go briefly over that one too if you would like in the next episode. This one's going to take a little bit, so look for video number 2, and that is the actual paper for the wedding songs. This is what the client won't see, but you'll use as a guide through the wedding itself. Okay, so this is wedding songs, what I labeled it. And as you can see in the top, it says the bride and the groom. I did this specifically. What you're going to do here is, I don't know how you want to do it, but what I do is, one, you're always going to make sure that you know who this person is and who the groom is. This is why when you do with third parties, you send this to the third party and you make sure that they write clearly and tell them no cursive. Write clearly. Write out. No cursive. And you're going to do this over the phone. If you can't get a hold of the client and do a one-on-one with them, this is the best thing to do. So make sure that this is a pro tip. This is first and foremost. Make sure that when you're talking to a client that they fill this out correctly. You're going to get the bride. If there's not enough room, there's a line down here that they can use, and you can tell them that. But make sure that they don't go into the groom's name. But the bride's name, you're going to make sure you get the first and last name before she gets married. That's a pro tip. And then the groom, you're going to get his first and last name. Not how they want to be introduced. This is their names before. And then you're going to do the pre list of songs. Now, this piece of paper, as you can see, probably doesn't have a lot of space for you to do what you want to. There's a couple of ideas that you can use. This is a pro tip. I use Spotify to get the information because they can type up the information and they can go a long ways for Spotify. So and then they can get the versions they want. And if they can't find them on Spotify, they can put them here. But what you're going to do is you're going to make sure that you get the information on the music they want, who sings the music, and then you're going to pick their brain because you're going to tell them, well, what if I can't get it? Because I had a situation arise, and this is why This is a secondary song that you want to pick. On the pre-ceremony list of songs, you want to make sure that they get the songs. And then when they send you the list, have them mark it pre-ceremony list of songs. Okay, now, how does the bride want to walk down the aisle? That's the next thing. So, after everybody gets situated, this is why a one-on-one is really important, because after the people get situated and sit down, when they sit down, you get the cue from the preacher, or yes, the preacher. You nod his head up and down, and what you're going to do is you're going to communicate with the recipient on what to do. Different common cues that they can do for the bridal party to make sure that the bride is where she says, and communication with the bride is very important at this time, not a third party. You're going to talk when you get to the wedding. This is why it's important to talk to the bride, because this part right here, this is the major part of the wedding. This is the major part. That is a pro tip. This is the major part. This is why you're here. And this is the most important part of the wedding. It doesn't matter about the cocktail hour or anything. It matters about the bride. This is the bride walk down. So when you do this, make sure that you're communicating with the bride. When you get there, you need to get there early to the wedding. If it takes you an hour to set up, don't just get there an hour early. That's a pro tip. I arrived to the wedding 2 hours early because I do not know, 2 to 3 hours, usually 3, because drive time and everything else, but usually I get there early because the simple fact is I don't know, one, how traffic's going to act. I could be going 2 miles away, but you know what? There could be something going on that you don't know about. I usually have to go to San Antonio, or I go to Houston, or I go to Waco, or I go to Fredericksburg. So I cover a lot of space. So I leave early for that reason, because I don't know how traffic is going to act. One time it took me 3 hours to get down to San Antonio. So, it just depends on how I feel. But I try to get there early, especially the wedding. If the wedding's at 2, I'm leaving the house at 10 to travel, because I don't know how it's going to react. I really don't. So that's this big thing right there, is it's your bridal party. You're getting with the bride before the wedding. That way you can discuss how she wants it done, and she's going to explain to you what she wants done, how she wants to do it, how you cue the song, everything else. Because if you get a traditional, you don't play the whole song. You're not going to play the whole song regardless of anything. However long it takes for her to walk from the place where she departs to where you start the music, where she wants you to start the music, to the end of where she starts ends the music, you're going to fade the music out. You're not just going to stop the music. Don't ever just hit the stop button when she stops. Fade it out. Because in the end, if you don't fade it out, and don't scratch it out. Don't ever do that. Fade it out. That is a pro tip. Fade out the music. I'm on this subject for a reason. Okay, so now this is the walkout songs and the cue to start, because they got all kinds of stuff going on. They might have the sand deal. They might have the lighted candle. They might have this. So you're going to have to really get into what they want to do. They might mazel tov. They might do whatever. I don't know what they're going to do. So it's important to make sure that you get what they're going to do before they do it. Okay, so now that we go that. Now, cocktail hour. A lot of people have cocktail hours up north. But down here, cocktail hour is when the time that there is really, I have had one cocktail hour, that I've done, and it was horror. And I'm going to tell you about that in a second. That was at Jennifer's Garden. They designed this specifically, really dumb. Okay, so I'm going to go on this note. Anytime that you're dealing with a band, the band ain't going to do no introductions. The band ain't going to do nothing. They're just going to be the band. You are it. You are the one taking care of everything. And don't think that you're going to use the band's equipment, because you're not. Bring your own equipment. When they said band, I was like, oh, I was kind of hesitant. But they had a band and me. Band did certain things and I did certain things. But I'm going to tell you one thing. Split systems. If you ever do a split system, make sure that you either use one of your speakers like I did, but make sure that you have something like a mini iPad or iPod or a phone. A phone works great, but make sure that everything that you do on a cocktail hour is a preset ready to go. Because usually right after this, you're going to begin cocktail hour, and that's why it's important to get with the people about it. That's why I have cocktail hour, yes or no. Is there going to be songs? Is there going to be a cocktail hour? Because different places, different people, different things. Okay, so now we're going to get into it. The bridal party entrance song. How does the bridal party want to get entered to? This all depends on the bride. The bridal party. The bride is going to want certain things to happen. She's going to want to know how they're going to be introduced, how long the song needs to play, because the bridal party entrance song is going to be going through as you do the introductions. So you're going to basically take the music. If your system doesn't do it, that is why it's highly to get something that you can use this with. Because what you're going to do is you're going to be able to turn down the music and you're going to be able to go over. Now you're going to go over strong to the music. So the music is going to be faded in the background. So you're going to fade the music to a quarter of an inch or a halfway point. That way the music doesn't overtake your voice. Because your voice, you're going to have to be loud and predominant over this. So make sure that when you do this part, that you're loud and predominant over the music that you're doing. Because when you're introducing people, you want them to know that you're in control, not the other way around. Because you're taking control of this wedding about this point in time. So then, as you can see, I got the bunch of papers there. And in the next paper, it makes sense why I'm doing it in two parts. So then I have this. This right here is the bride and groom. What song do they want to be introduced to? I didn't put it in here because it's in the other one, but you're basically it should be in here. I just realized it. But when they walk up, what do they want to be played in the background for their theme? I had Love Gun at 1, so it just and they only played the 56 seconds, and then they wanted to be introduced. So that's how that went. And there was a few points and everything else. I have in Jennifer's Garden. It went great. They had to walk down a bunch of stairs, so it was insane. But so that's what you want to do, and then you want to do this. Okay, so there's a lot of different ideas on how to do first dance, when to do it, why to do it, how to do it. This is a pro tip. Get with the bride and ask her how she wants her reception to go. Not the way you want to run the reception. You tell her that it's best interest to, a lot of people like to do it right after they introduce them and get it over with. But I'm going to tell you this. That is why it's important to get with the bride and not control it, but tell the bride and explain to her how she wants to do it. Because she's going to, in the end, it's her day, not yours. Just a pro tip. So, however you do it up north or east or west, you need to make sure that you know what you're doing. And then, are they going to have a bridal party dance? Which down here they never do. I never had one. The father-daughter dance. It's very important to get the name of the father, and that's why this is here. You can stretch it out. Now, what you're going to do is don't ever go by the bride's last name, because you don't want to do it that way. Original last name. You're going to pick her brain, and you're going to act like you don't know what they're talking about. And you're going to ask them, well, what's your father's name? And you're going to write his first and last name. But when you discuss it in the next paper, I'll show you what I'm talking about. You're going to mention him as Mr. Mr. So-and-so, so-and-so, because that is the proper way to introduce somebody at a wedding. Then the mother-son dance. Make sure you do the same thing. Don't always assume, because my dad and mom had me, but I got my father's last name and my mother's last name was different. So that's why it's very important that you get this information. The special dances. Are there going to be special dances? There are a couple of special dances that I didn't put down here, and one of them is the dollar dance, and that's a whole different animal, and I'll get into that in the next one. But grandparents dance and the cultural dance and the group dance. Now, group dances are just a bunch of people getting together and dancing, how they want to do it. And then the cake cutting song. I like to use a couple of songs. The Beatles has one that I like to use. And then the other one is Maroon 5. So it just depends on, and then there's Cake by the Ocean I use too. So it just depends on who they are. But you don't want to play the whole song. You want to play it light. You don't want to overtake the bride in your room with it. Now these two are like together. And I'll explain that in the next video. The bouquet toss is number one of Single Ladies by Beyonce. I always use that song for her. Pretty much when I talk to the bride, I talk to her and then I tell her, and then she's like, oh yeah, I like that song. So it depends on who you talk to. But it's perfect because they're single ladies and they're going to, anyway, so the song speaks for itself. And then the garter toss. This goes a long ways. In the next video, I'll discuss that because it's a ball game that it needs to be talked to in that paper. And then the anniversary songs for married couples. Now, a lot of people don't do this. I have done it a lot. So, and then that's it. And then the last song. Gonna make sure that you have the last song. You're gonna have this queued up, and in this song right here, you're gonna basically, you're gonna pick with them because this depends. When you get ready to do this, you're gonna be on the couple's remark because the couple could have hired you until 10 o'clock. But you can stay until 9 or 7 or 5 or whatever. So this just depends on how long the couple wants to stay. And usually some people let the party go on when they leave. So it just all depends on the couple. So you need to make sure that you get with the couple and over this, not with this, that, and the other. You want to get with the couple because it's highly suggested you get with the couple. You can get with a third party all you want, but in the end, the third party ain't going to be able to discuss this with you because they really don't know. Because they say they picked a brand, but they don't. Okay, and then this is the big one. Songs not to play. Old Town Road is number one usually on this list of songs not to play at a wedding. I know. Lil Nas takes the gimmick every time they say not to play this song. Guess what happens? People request it. Baby Shark. People request not to play Baby Shark at the wedding. And trust me, drunk uncles, when they ask to do it, I don't know what your take is on this. Leave a comment below about Baby Shark at a wedding. But I've done it, like I've done 15, 20 weddings, no, 25 weddings. And out of 10 of them, I've played Baby Shark. Go figure. Popular song. Songs that must be played. Now you want to get with them about songs that they want to hear, because it's, in the end, yeah, you are a jukebox, and get that right. You are a jukebox. Read the words. You are a jukebox. So you're a jukebox hero. Anyway, songs that must be played. And then you want to get songs before dinner. That's usually before dinner. You play something light. So, and then you make sure it's jazz, or if they like jazz or whatever. Now, a lot do people down here do country. So I pick all kinds of songs by Dolly Parton and Kenny Rogers and stuff like that for dinner. Before and during dinner, those are the musics that I use. Kenny Rogers, and like I said, and Dolly Parton, and just light music. You don't want to play dancing music, so it's very much. And then after dinner songs, this is the songs before they kick off. So you're setting the mood for everything that's going on in the wedding, because that's what you're there for. And then the genres they love. You're going to put it on there, because I had somebody tell me, this is Texas, they did not want country played at all. But then they go ahead and add Cotton Eye Joe. So it doesn't make sense. I mean, some people are, I don't know. But anyway, I played Cotton Eye Joe at that place, that they didn't want country. And then I had one people tell me that they didn't want, they did not want line dancing music played. So what do? I play line dancing music. And guess what happens? I got the party popping. And they didn't say nothing to me. But it took one line dance song. And that's the wobble. I did the wobble. And man, you talk about, that was it. It took over. Next thing you know, I'm playing twerk music. So I took over the party. Because I threw something out there that I had an instinct and a gut feeling to put out. And sometimes they don't like it. But when you do it at a wedding, a lot of people like to wobble. But anyway, so, and then the genres of music we dislike. Now, what you do after is usually you send this or whatever. So what you're going to do is you're going to put your information down there of where are they going to send this. They can do it a couple of ways. As you can see here, they can text you the number. They can text it to you, a copy of it. They can email it to you. They can, well, they can't really go to your website. Well, yeah, they can, because then they can go to your website and go through the channels and doing all that too. But it's going to come down to this email anyway, so it really doesn't matter. And then they can send it to your address if you want snail mail. What I suggest you do, this is just the pro tip. I suggest that you ask them to send you a copy in the mail too. It's 45 cents, 50 cents to send a letter, but in the end, you'll have a solid copy of it too. Because digitally, some things could happen. So, with that being said, and subscribe to my channel. If you like what you hear, go ahead and hit the like button. If you don't like what you hear, go ahead and hit don't like it. Tell me why. In the comments below, go ahead and tell me if this video was too long and you didn't like my ugly face. I don't care about that. But anyway, I put that out there. But if you don't know,
now I know.
And knowing is half the battle. G.I. Joe!
peace.